Welcome back. And now, with some more of the good, we welcome Robin Nagel with Full Circle Interdisciplinary Consulting in California. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you. Hello.
It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, we're going to talk today about the ADA, American Disabilities Act. I remember specifically when that came out in this country. I was published in a local newspaper, the Times-Picayune. I wrote an editorial, came out on Thanksgiving Day, how wonderful that was. One of the great things that happened in my lifetime, to see that, and mostly access to wheelchairs and so forth like that in buildings. But just as important is the protection of kids with special needs. And that's what I'm focusing on today's conversation with Robin. So why don't you explain to us about the IDEA and all these acronyms, the ADA and whatever, because you're the expert.
Okay, I'll do what I can. The ADA was signed into law in 1990. We have 35 years of settled protections of working people and school-age people, students with disabilities, and how one qualifies as a person with a disability depends on the person. It's a very person-centric body of law.
It's very individualized, isn't it?
Well, the application of the law is always individualized.
Right.
Decisions cannot be made without taking the particular needs of the individual into account, whether it's a school student or it's you or me in our workplace, or anyone else in between. So this is a really important tenet, Bertie, because in order to cut corners, get to the answer quicker than is realistic, employers, schools, other institutions just want to get to the point. What's the bottom line here? What do I have to do? And if they can do less, many organizations and those that represent them are very happy to do less. But the ADA and the IDEA are very explicit in the drafting of the law and the law that was adopted by Congress. And that requires individual attention to each circumstance. You cannot skip over that.
And that's the important aspect of it, because I've seen my personal experience, and I've been in education for several years as a project director, as a schoolroom teacher, and I know that kids they're different. Those with special needs, they have special needs completely. So you really have to address them accordingly. You can't put everybody, as I mentioned to you when we spoke before about Ellis Marcellus, my mentor for many years, told me you just can't keep putting kids on the same conveyor belt and expect the same result at the end. There's different characteristics and obviously different needs. You'd agree.
But the ADA, I want to say the formers of the ADA, the drafters of the ADA, in their wisdom, recognize this is true for every single person. There is no situation in which a generalized solution is going to be necessarily acceptable if the individual involved says, no, that doesn't work for me. So first thing is to consult with either the individual, the student, or in cases of young people who are under the age of 18, their parents. So
Right.
Their parents and that student must be consulted individually, personally, with respect to that person's needs, the child's needs, and the parent's belief. Let's speak about children, let's say under the age of 18, what the parents or the guardians believe that child needs. That comes first under the law.
That's interesting, because my personal experience recently, and we discussed this before, is that I went to the school board for an open meeting in the Jefferson Parish here in Louisiana to address some issues that I was concerned about, and they didn't even have the meeting. They closed the open meeting down and had a private meeting to deal with budgetary issues, and hence that's the issue to me. You can't just put things above the students. If you can't go advocate for a student at a public forum, what do? You just can't come meet in the lobby and try to resolve everything. That being said, so I was told, even though the parents were not notified of the change in school districts for this particular student who had been there 2 years and made remarkable progress, and they admitted that they didn't send a letter out, that they didn't have the address, even though they didn't know, they didn't find out until the week the school starts, that in and of itself was wrong, because as I think I talked to you about, the Cleveland Institute talked about how even normal kids in normal environments, they have difficulty transferring to another school, many factors. And this
change is hard, Bernie. It's hard for all of us.
Yes.
Children, whether they have special needs or are more ordinary children, have trouble with change. It's a challenge.
And also, they also talk about bullying. If a child's been bullied, and that's a very important factor for these special needs kids. And
it can be, yes.
And that's bad. I wish we had more time to talk to you, Robin. You're really a fascinating person. You've got great credentials, and I consider you one of the best experts in the field that I'm aware of. Hopefully next time I can get you back on. But before we go, tell me a little more about your company.
Well, Full Circle Interdisciplinary Consulting, the interdisciplinary part has to do with where the rubber meets the road, and all of the parties who are involved in solving these challenges that are faced by people with disabilities. For the most part, I work with adults, but I've worked in schools also as an educator.
Right.
So I'm sensitive to the concerns that you raised to me when we spoke first. I work on a consulting basis. I work with employers, I work with school institutions, and I work with individuals.
Well,
my original training was as a rehabilitation counselor, but that was 40 years ago.
Well, I'll tell you before, it was a school counselor that helped me turn my life around. And I have the utmost faith, and I have the highest respect for people like yourself, because you're in the trenches. And I can tell you from teaching, the short time I was teaching, but I was in a project director for years, it's the toughest job. It's not tough because it's the communication part. It's tough, it wears you out if you're doing if you're passionate about what you're doing and you care about the children, each one of them. It's very draining. So teachers don't get enough credit in my book.
Bernie, every child and every employee in a work environment is in the trench. These problems are trench problems. They cannot be solved by bureaucracy. You can have a 20-page manual of what to do and how to do it, but if you don't do it with the person who's actually affected by the situation, by their needs, and by the circumstances of trying to solve it, you don't have a solution.
Exactly, and that's probably the problem with what I have now with this other situation. Well, I want to say, Robin, it's great having you on. Let's do this again. You're very talented, and you're a great asset to the educational community in this country. So we'll see you then next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. That's Politics.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Jeff will be right back with the bad, and some of that was a little bad too, but it was overall good. We'll be right there. Stay here. All right.
Do you want me to go off video? Can I listen in?
Well, the show's pretty done. We were just saving you for the last. When I say this now, we're actually not going there. It's just, it will when we edit it, but it's not.
Okay.
It's not happening right now.
All right.
Well, okay. Well, thanks again, Robin. I'm going to be talking to you soon. I tell you that.
Okay, I'll look forward to hearing from you.
All right, and I'll get you a tape of the show and the whole, and whatever I can. And we have you in the credits. Your name's going to be on the screen when you're talking and what you do. And I'm hoping this will be beneficial to you as it has been for me.
Okay, thanks so much, Bernie.
Bye-bye, Robin.
Bye.
Yeah, gotcha. That's a great conversation we had with Miss Robin Nagel, and I want to say that you can't bully students or their parents. If you're in public education, if you're an elected official or whatever, you need to pay attention to the ADA. If you don't know it, learn it, because there are ramifications. Okay, Jeff will be right back with the bad. Stay right here.